At 6:30 a.m. on December 1st, 1948, on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, South Australia, a body was found slumped against a seawall, its posture unnatural, its pockets devoid of identity, and its very presence the opening scene of Australia's most enduring and perplexing cold case. This was the Somerton Man, an enigma wrapped in an impeccably tailored suit, whose story would unfold not through a traditional police investigation, but through a series of cryptic clues, secret codes, and a pervasive silence that would confound detectives and amateur sleuths for over 7 decades. The initial shock of finding a deceased individual quickly gave way to a deeper unease as the details of his discovery began to emerge, painting a picture not of a simple tragedy, but of a deliberately constructed mystery designed to baffle, to obscure, and ultimately to protect. The man lay on his back, his head resting against the concrete steps leading down to the beach, his feet crossed, gazing up at the morning sky. He was dressed in a pristine double-breasted brown suit, a white shirt, a red and blue tie, and highly polished tan shoes. Everything about his attire suggested respectability, even a touch of elegance. But beneath this veneer of normalcy, investigators immediately noticed something profoundly wrong. His clothing labels had been meticulously removed. Every single identifying mark, from the brand tags in his suit to the laundry marks on his shirt, had been expertly cut away, leaving only faint stitching lines as evidence of their former presence. This was not the work of a casual thief, nor the result of wear and tear. This was a deliberate act of effacement, a methodical stripping away of identity. His pockets yielded little more. No wallet, no money, no keys, no identity documents of any kind. Instead, detectives found a packet of Army Club cigarettes containing 7 cigarettes of a different brand, Kensitas, a half-empty box of Bryant and May matches, a bus ticket from the city to Glenelg, a train ticket from Adelaide to Henley Beach, and a stick of juicy fruit chewing gum. These were the mundane artifacts of an ordinary life, yet in their totality they amounted to nothing. They offered no name, no address, no profession, no past. The man himself appeared to be in excellent physical condition, estimated to be in his early to mid-40s, with strong calves and high arches, suggesting a physically demanding occupation or a background in dance or sport. He was a man without a shadow, a figure erased from the records before he even died. The first responders, 2 local jockeys who stumbled upon him, initially thought he was merely sleeping off a night of revelry. But as the sun climbed higher and the man remained motionless, his stillness became alarming. Police Constable Moss arrived, confirming the worst. The man was dead. His body was cool, indicating he had likely died hours earlier, sometime in the night. What killed him? And why was he lying on a secluded beach, meticulously stripped of his identity, in a way that screamed not accident, but intention? The official autopsy, performed by Dr. John Burton Cleland and Dr. Robert Cowan, only deepened the enigma. The man's general health appeared robust. His internal organs, however, told a different story. His spleen was congested, his liver engorged, and there was fresh bleeding in his stomach and esophagus. The pupils of his eyes were unusually constricted, and his facial capillaries were prominent. Despite these abnormalities, the toxicological reports found no trace of any common poisons, no strychnine, no cyanide, no common narcotics. Dr. Cleland, a respected pathologist, concluded that the cause of death was failure of the heart's action, likely induced by some unknown poison, rapidly absorbed and quickly metabolized. He also noted another peculiar detail. The man's last meal, a pasty, eaten 3 to 4 hours before death, was still present and undigested. This suggested a sudden, violent reaction, rather than a gradual decline. The immediate investigation focused on identification. Fingerprints were taken, dental records charted, but both yielded no matches against Australian or international databases. The man's distinctive high arches and unusually symmetrical feet were noted, but provided no unique identifier. Australia, a nation of immigrants, had a transient population, but even then, a body found on a public beach dressed in good clothes should have been identifiable. Days turned into weeks. The local press dubbed him the Somerton Man, a placeholder for the man who had no name. Police released detailed descriptions, photographs, and even plaster casts of his face, hoping someone would recognize him. The silence was deafening. No missing person reports matched. No family came forward. It was as if this man had simply materialized on the beach from thin air, utterly disconnected from the world. Then a pivotal discovery occurred. 10 days after the body was found, a brown suitcase was discovered at the Adelaide railway station's cloakroom. The ticket on the case indicated it had been checked in at 11 a.m. on November 30th, the day before the body was found. This immediately connected it to the Somerton Man, whose train ticket suggested he had arrived in Adelaide that very morning. The contents of the suitcase were just as perplexing as the man's own pockets. Clothing, specifically tailored, but again with all identifying tags removed. A dressing gown, slippers, 4 pairs of underpants, pajamas, toiletries, shaving equipment, and some odd tools, a sharpened table knife, a pair of scissors, and 3 distinct pieces of clothing bore names: T. Keen, Keen, and G. Keen. These names offered the first genuine lead, a sliver of hope in a sea of unknowns. Police pursued every T. Keen and G. Keen in Australia. They found none missing. The problem was these were laundry marks, often reused and not reliable identifiers. It was possible the name was a red herring or perhaps a previous owner. The methodical removal of other tags suggested these Keen marks were either overlooked or deliberately left as a misleading trail. The tools were also curious. Why would a man on a supposed journey carry a sharpened table knife and scissors? Were they for a particular trade or something more sinister? The true turning point, the clue that would elevate this case from a perplexing John Doe to an international enigma, came from a tiny, innocuous slip of paper found in a fob pocket sewn into the deceased man's trousers. The pocket was not original to the suit. It had been painstakingly added later. Inside, a rolled-up piece of paper revealed 2 words: tamam shud. This phrase, typed, translated from Persian, means finished or ended. This single slip of paper was torn from the final page of a specific, very rare edition of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a collection of 11th century Persian quatrains, a poetic meditation on life, death, and destiny. The implication was profound. The man was carrying a message, a final declaration, or perhaps a key to his own demise, hidden within his very clothing. The police appealed to the public, asking for anyone with information about the specific Rubaiyat edition missing its Tamam Shud page to come forward. For months, there was nothing. Then, in July 1949, a local businessman, Prosper Thompson, contacted the police. He had found a copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam on the back seat of his unlocked car, parked in Somerton months earlier. He had not thought much of it at the time, assuming it belonged to his brother-in-law. When he examined it after the police appeal, he found the final page was indeed torn out. The torn edges of the page in his possession perfectly matched the Tamam Shud slip found in the Somerton Man's pocket. It was an indisputable link, a physical connection between the unknown man and a known object. But the mystery was far from over. It had merely begun to deepen. The Rubaiyat found in Thompson's car held more secrets. Scrawled inside its back cover in faint pencil were 5 lines of apparently random letters. It looked like a coded message. The lines read, WRGOABD, MILIOBOIA, ITMTSAMSTGAB. The 4th line, interestingly, was struck out, perhaps a mistake or an abandoned thought. This was it, the code. A sequence of letters that, if deciphered, might finally reveal the man's identity, his purpose, or the circumstances of his death. Cryptographers from naval intelligence, university professors, and amateur code breakers were all brought in. They tried every known method: substitution ciphers, transpositions, frequency analysis. Nothing worked. The code appeared too short, too lacking in repetition to yield to standard cryptographic techniques. Was it a simple mnemonic, a set of initials, or something far more complex? Perhaps a one-time pad, unbreakable without the corresponding key. The presence of this code transformed the Somerton Man from a mere victim into a figure of international intrigue. Could he have been a spy, a courier? The Cold War was just beginning to simmer, and tales of espionage filled the air. This was no ordinary case, and it wasn't just about a dead body anymore. It was about a deliberate, intricate puzzle left behind. What kind of person leaves such a trail, and what kind of message could be so vital, yet so obscure? If you find yourself captivated by the deliberate mysteries embedded within real cold cases, consider subscribing to Veritas Crime. We delve into these profound human puzzles, chasing every lead, no matter how faint, in pursuit of understanding. The discovery of the book and the code led police back to the Thompson family. Prosper Thompson's daughter, a young nurse named Jessie, quickly became a person of immense interest. She lived barely a few hundred yards from where the body was found. Jessie Thompson, later known as Jessie Proctor, initially denied any knowledge of the book or the man. However, under persistent questioning, she admitted to having given a copy of the Rubaiyat to a man named Alfred Boxall during World War II. Boxall was a British Army lieutenant, an intelligence officer whom she had met and befriended in Sydney. She claimed she had inscribed it to him. This created a profound complication. If the book belonged to Boxall and he was still alive, then who was the Somerton Man, and how did a copy of the Rubaiyat inscribed to Boxall end up in Thompson's car with its final page torn out? Police tracked down Alfred Boxall. He was alive and well, working in Sydney. He still possessed his copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, complete with Jessie's inscription and, crucially, with its Tamam Shud page intact. This immediately ruled out Boxall as the Somerton Man. But it did not rule out Jessie Thompson's involvement. The police showed her a plaster cast of the Somerton Man's head. Her reaction was peculiar. According to Detective Sergeant Lee, she averted her eyes, grew visibly agitated, and claimed not to know the man. Yet, Detective Lee always maintained she gave a startled reaction and looked away rapidly. An emotional flicker that suggested recognition. What did she know, and why the steadfast denial even decades later? Jessie Thompson's evasiveness became a central, frustrating element of the case. She spoke of her association with Boxall, of their shared interest in poetry, but consistently downplayed any deeper connection. She stated that she had told the police all she knew. Yet, her demeanor, her almost pathological refusal to engage fully with the questions, always left investigators with a sense that she was withholding vital information. Was she protecting herself? Was she protecting someone else?
Or was she genuinely unaware, and her reaction simply that of a shocked woman confronted with a gruesome image? The police sketches of the man also showed a striking resemblance to a child Jessie later had, raising a theory that the Somerton Man might have been the child's father. This was a private matter, but in a case so starved for clues, such a possibility could not be ignored. The faint, handwritten letters inside the Rubaiyat found in Thompson's car were a cipher, a secret message waiting to be unlocked. For decades, expert cryptographers, government intelligence agencies, and countless enthusiasts tried to break it. The brevity of the code, with only 25 characters, made it incredibly difficult to analyze using traditional methods. There simply wasn't enough repetitive data to identify patterns common in substitution ciphers. Some suggested it might be a code for a one-time pad, an unbreakable encryption method if used correctly, implying a level of sophistication far beyond what an ordinary person would employ. This fueled the Cold War espionage theories. Could the Somerton Man have been a spy? The methodical removal of all identifying tags, the absence of money or a wallet, the professional tailoring of his clothes, the precise location on the beach, the untraceable poison, and finally, the cryptic code, all these elements pointed away from a simple tragic death and towards something far more premeditated, something with the hallmarks of espionage. Adelaide during the late 1940s was a hub for scientific research, including top-secret nuclear projects at Woomera. The geopolitical climate of the emerging Cold War meant that spies from various nations were active, seeking information, establishing networks. Was the Somerton Man a foreign agent, perhaps on a mission, who was either eliminated by his own side for failure or by an opposing agency? The tamam shud message, finished or ended, could be a final dispatch, a code word, or a simple farewell. The lack of struggle at the scene suggested he might have been incapacitated, or perhaps even willingly ingested the poison, believing it to be a harmless sedative. Alternatively, some investigators pondered a more personal, albeit still deeply mysterious narrative, a lover's suicide or a murder stemming from a passionate affair. The proximity of Jessie Thompson's home to the discovery site, her agitated reaction to the man's image, and the unusual gift of the Rubaiyat all pointed towards a clandestine romantic entanglement. Could the tamam shud note have been a poignant suicide message, a declaration of an ending to a tormented affair? Or was he murdered by a jealous husband or a spurned lover, and his identity erased to protect reputations and avoid scandal? The love affair theory offered a powerful human element, but it still struggled to explain the meticulous effort to remove all labels, the sophisticated code, and the untraceable poison. These details felt more professional than personal, more calculated than emotional. For decades, the case remained utterly cold. The Somerton Man was buried in an anonymous grave, with a headstone reading simply, "The unknown man who was found at Somerton Beach." Years passed, families moved, witnesses died. The file grew thicker, but the answers grew no closer. The mystery became a fixture in Australian folklore, a source of endless speculation and obsession for true crime enthusiasts worldwide. The lack of progress was not due to a lack of effort, but to the sheer depth of the puzzle. Every lead seemed to either vanish or create more questions than it answered. The police archives, brimming with theories and dead ends, only underscored the profound silence that surrounded the Somerton Man. As forensic science advanced, calls for the Somerton Man's exhumation grew louder. The hope was that DNA technology, absent in 1948, could finally provide an identity.
However, for many years, legal and bureaucratic hurdles blocked these attempts. The initial argument was that with no known relatives to consent and no clear path to identifying anyone, exhumation was not justified. Yet, the public and independent researchers never gave up. They saw the potential not just to solve a historical mystery, but to provide closure for a man who had died without a name. The fight for exhumation was a testament to the enduring human desire for truth, for giving a name back to the nameless. It was a recognition that even after decades, a life has intrinsic value, and its story deserves to be told. The breakthrough, when it finally came, arrived not through a dramatic new piece of evidence unearthed from the original crime scene, but through the quiet, meticulous work of a dedicated group of modern researchers. In 2018, Professor Derek Abbott from the University of Adelaide, a relentless champion of the case, received permission to extract DNA from hairs found on the Somerton Man's bust. This was a crucial first step. However, the initial DNA samples were degraded and difficult to process. The real game changer came with the exhumation of the Somerton Man's remains in May 2021, under a warrant obtained by the South Australian Attorney General. This allowed for more extensive DNA extraction from bone and teeth samples. Professor Abbott, working with American forensic genealogist Colleen Fitzpatrick, employed advanced forensic genealogical techniques. This involved creating a comprehensive DNA profile and then uploading it to public genealogical databases, searching for distant relatives. It was a painstaking process, mapping out complex family trees, tracing lineages, and looking for common ancestors. For months, they worked through thousands of potential matches, narrowing down possibilities, cross-referencing public records like birth certificates, marriage licenses, and death notices. This was less about a CSI moment and more about relentless, methodical data analysis, building a bridge between the unknown dead and the living. Finally, in July 2022, Professor Abbott announced a likely identification. The Somerton Man was Carl Webb. Born in Melbourne, Australia in 1905, Carl Charles Webb was a man who, by all accounts, lived a relatively ordinary life. He was an electrical engineer and instrument maker. Records showed he was married to a woman named Dorothy, but they had separated. He had brothers and sisters. He was not a spy, not a secret agent, not a character from a thrilling Cold War novel. He was a man with a name, a family, and a discernible past. This identification was made possible by matching his DNA to distant cousins, then painstakingly working back through the family tree to pinpoint Webb. It was a triumph of modern forensic science and dogged determination. The identification of Carl Webb was a monumental step, providing a name to the man who had remained nameless for 74 years. Yet, in some ways, it only opened a new set of questions, replacing one mystery with another. If Carl Webb was an ordinary electrical engineer, why was his identity so meticulously erased? Why was he found dead on Somerton Beach with no money, no ID, and that cryptic note? What led a seemingly unremarkable man to such an extraordinary end? His family, when approached, had no knowledge of him being in Adelaide or any particular reason for him to be there. They knew he was estranged from his wife Dorothy, but his disappearance had apparently not been reported as missing. The silence around Carl Webb's life, even from his own family, was as profound as the silence surrounding his death. The Tamam Shud code remains unbroken. Its meaning, whether it was a personal message, a cipher, or an elaborate set of initials, is still unknown. The specific copy of the Rubaiyat that led to the code remains a crucial piece of evidence, yet its connection to Carl Webb is still tenuous.
Did he pass it on, or was it placed there by someone else? The connection to Jessie Thompson, the nurse who lived nearby and had given a copy of the book to another man, also remains tantalizingly unresolved. Did she know Carl Webb? Was there a deeper, hidden relationship? Her steadfast refusal to acknowledge him and her curious reaction to his image take on a new weight with his identity now known. What do you believe the code meant, and what do you make of these lingering questions? Share your theories in the comments below. It's precisely these gaps that fuel endless speculation, transforming a cold case into a persistent cultural phenomenon. Even with Carl Webb's name now firmly attached to the Somerton Man, the identity, as crucial as it is, only deepens the mystery. We know who he was, but we still don't know why he was there, who put him there, or what truly happened in the hours leading up to his discovery. The precise and untraceable nature of the poison points to a deliberate, sophisticated act far beyond a random individual's despair. It hints at a world where discretion was paramount and lives could be erased with surgical precision. This isn't merely a puzzle, it's a canvas onto which generations have projected their own anxieties about secrets, espionage, and the fragility of identity. Imagine the silent conversations held in the shadows, the meticulous planning, the chilling execution that left a body on a beach with no visible cause of death, stripped of any conventional identifier. The Tamam Shud code itself, a snippet from a 12th century Persian poem, introduces an almost theatrical flair to the macabre. Was it a signature, a final cryptic message meant for someone specific, or a calculated distraction designed to send investigators spiraling down academic rabbit holes while the real culprits vanished? What element of this case, even after 70 years, still haunts your thoughts the most? Is it the perfect poison, the mysterious code, or the sheer anonymity of his final moments? Share your insights. The sands of Somerton Beach have long since been walked over by countless others, just as time has eroded crucial leads and silenced potential witnesses. Yet, the story of the Somerton Man, or rather Carl Webb, refuses to be buried. It serves as a stark reminder that some truths are so deeply hidden, so masterfully obscured, that they defy even the most rigorous investigation.
It challenges our very notion of what it means to be truly known, even in death. The identity of Carl Webb brings the story back to the human element, but it doesn't fully explain the crime. The meticulous efforts to erase his identity, the untraceable poison, and the unsolved code still point to a sophisticated plot. Was he murdered? Did he commit suicide? If so, why the extreme measures to ensure anonymity? The lack of any official missing person report for Carl Webb further compounds the mystery. Did his family not report him because they were estranged or because they knew something they were unwilling to share? The silence from the living, then as now, is as much a part of this case as the silence of the dead. The Somerton Man, now known as Carl Webb, represents more than just an unsolved case. He embodies the profound human need for identity and closure. For over 70 decades, his story was a cipher, a puzzle without a solution, a life ended prematurely and anonymously. While modern science has given him his name back, the core questions about why he died, who was truly involved, and the full meaning of that cryptic code remain shrouded in the very silence that has defined this case from the moment his body was discovered on that serene Australian beach. The tamam shud, it is finished, still feels less like an ending and more like a permanent question mark. An echo of a story that refuses to be fully told, reminding us that even with a name, some truths can remain perpetually elusive. The identity of Carl Webb brings the story back to the human element, but it doesn't fully explain the crime. The meticulous efforts to erase his identity, the untraceable poison, and the unsolved code still point to a sophisticated plot. Was he murdered? Did he commit suicide? If so, why the extreme measures to ensure anonymity? The lack of any official missing person report for Carl Webb further compounds the mystery. Did his family not report him because they were estranged or because they knew something they were unwilling to share? The silence from the living, then as now, is as much a part of this case as the silence of the dead. The Somerton Man, now known as Carl Webb, represents more than just an unsolved case. He embodies the profound human need for identity and closure. For over 70 decades, his story was a cipher, a puzzle without a solution, a life ended prematurely and anonymously. While modern science has given him his name back, the core questions about why he died, who was truly involved, and the full meaning of that cryptic code remain shrouded in the very silence that has defined this case from the moment his body was discovered on that serene Australian beach. The tamam shud, it is finished, still feels less like an ending and more like a permanent question mark. An echo of a story that refuses to be fully told, reminding us that even with a name, some truths can remain perpetually elusive.
The investigation into the circumstances of Carl Webb's death continues, a quiet persistence against the enduring, profound mystery that began that December morning.